Hey folks, welcome to Hank's True Barbecue. Today I'm going to talk about the big green egg, or actually how to start and maintain a fire in a Kamado grill in general. I do have a big green egg. I've had it for 6 or 7 years, I think. It's gotten quite a bit of use, which is nice because it's a nice grill. I really like it, and I like the fact that it maintains temp for hours and hours. Now, Kamado grills in general, if you're not familiar with them compared to the regular kettle grills, is of course that they're made of some kind of ceramic material. I was gonna say clay, but it's a bit more complex than that. Because it lasts almost forever, it seems like, and it maintains temp very steadily. And the reason it maintains temp steadily is of course because it's very thick material, and the material stores heat very well. So it's extremely efficient in that way. But that also means you need to take that into account when you're starting a fire, because you really want to start small. I'm going to show you exactly how. We're going to go outside to the grill in just a minute and get that fire started. Now, I like it, like I said, because it's easy to maintain temps. It's relatively quick to start and it lasts for hours and hours, but you have to dial down the vents quite a bit. I only use charcoal for fuel in my Kamado, and you can use briquettes, of course. You don't have to. Actually, I would say don't, because I mean, even though you can start a fire and it burns and everything, the briquettes produce a ton of ash compared to regular lump charcoal. And all that ash is going to clog up the air holes, which means the grill can't breathe properly, and that's a bad thing. So steer clear of briquettes and use good quality lump charcoal and you'll be just fine. So when lighting a fire in the grill, the one thing you have to really pay attention to is like the first 30 to 40 minutes. The startup phase or the ramp up phase is the most important thing when lighting a Kamado. If you get it dialed in just right after 30 to 40 minutes, everything's good. Then it's going to be smooth sailing from then on. But the trick is to not get it too hot in the beginning, because if with all that thermal mass in the grill, if you get it too hot, it's not going to be easy to bring the temp down. In a kettle grill with briquettes, I can typically tweak the vents, close them to like 50% or 30%, and the temp's going to go down within the next 10-15 minutes. So that's easy, but it doesn't work it's not that easy on a Kamado grill because of the thermal mass. So I've tried it quite a few times. You pull the vent down and still 1 hour later, still the same steady temp. So again, pay attention to the starting phase and I'll show you exactly how. But the trick is to light a very, very small fire and let the charcoal turn into glowing embers, and what I call phase 2, which is kind of happening almost at the same time, is to get all that hardware warmed up. And then you've tuned it in properly. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. We have the grill grates, of course. Remove those. This is the heat deflector, blocking direct heat radiation. And this is the fire bowl, basically. So we're going to dump charcoal in here. Lump charcoal, like I said. We're going to light it up. And a few things to note. These are the air holes, except for these. So you want to cover charcoal. The charcoal bed should cover these. So pour at least up to here. You can add more if you want, but make sure you cover those. Then we're going to drop a match in here. I'm going to show you exactly how to get this thing started. As you can see, there's quite a bit of thermal mass here, including the deflector I just removed. So that means it's going to take just a bit of time to warm up, but once it's up to temp, it's going to maintain steady temps for a long time. Now, to adjust temp, we modify the vents, the bottom vent and the top vent. This is the top vent. This is, as some of you can see, the old model. Still works just as fine. This is what I call the cat eyes. So you set this one, typically I have it running for low and slow like that, quite closed up as you can see, but that's because we only have a few glowing embers and those don't need a lot of oxygen, so we try to keep temp down. Now, pro tip when positioning this one is to make sure this screw is facing the handle, because if you position it like that and open it and close it, you can see the top vent slides off and you have to reset it when closing the lid again. Kind of boring, so make sure this one goes right here and you can open it, close it, and the vent stays in the same position. And also a note on adjustment. If I change from here to here, that's quite a big adjustment. That's going to go 20 to 30 degrees up in temp, so make sure you make small changes. And here's the bottom vent with a little mesh net here. This one's actually quite good to use because it blocks all any sparks flying out. And this one typically positioned somewhere here. This is good, sometimes closer. So now I've covered the air holes by plenty, so this is good. So now it's time to light the fire. I use these fire starter matches, which I think are really convenient. If I can get them out of the package. And the key now is to light this in just one spot, not two. And that goes for bigger Big Green Eggs or other Kamados also. So I'm just gonna light this here, kind of bury it right there. Doesn't matter where, but just pick one spot. I'm gonna leave this and wait for this to come up to temp. And the thing is, I want to get a good fire started, but not like burning all over the place. So I'm gonna be pretty wary on looking at this and seeing where it goes. As soon as I have some glowing embers, we're gonna start closing down the grill. Vents fully open, of course, but we want to get the fire started in the charcoal. Then we're gonna warm up the actual hardware, which is gonna take 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're gonna start dialing in the vents. So it's like a 3-stage process almost. But paying attention now in the beginning really pays off. We're a few minutes in and you can see there's some good fire going, but there's still no glowing embers, which I'm waiting for. So another few minutes before we close the lid and start warming up the grill itself. So 10 minutes have gone and now we have some nice glowing embers. It goes way deep, I can see that from looking from over here. So now I'm gonna close the lid, still with the vents open, and warm up the grill. I keep the top vent just like this. You could argue that I could remove it completely, but I want to warm up even the top vent, so all the hardware needs to get up to temp. So this is the way I roll, but in a while we're gonna close this and start dialing down. Notice also that I haven't put the plate setter in place yet because I want air to move freely here while getting the grill up to temp, but we're gonna put this in real soon. All right, time for the plate setter. I can feel by touching the grill that it's getting just lukewarm, which means for me that it's time to get that one in. It also means you can get the grill grates and of course start checking the temp. Just like that. So when do I start dialing it in? Well, if I'm aiming for 120 Celsius, in this case, by experience, this has told me that I should start dialing it in at around 100, so 20 degrees before target temp, because it takes time to stop it. Think of it as a moving freight train, so you want to catch it before it hits target temp. So now you can see the temp is climbing from 70 to 80 Celsius, so now I'm gonna start closing this one, because I don't want to give the fuel or the fire too much air to begin with. I want to dial it down pretty quickly. Again, the startup phase is key, so we're going to see how it reacts now when I close this, and then next time I'm going to shut it even further and then start modifying the bottom vent also. But this is a good way of kind of like bringing it into exactly where we want it. And another thing, how do you know if you choke it off too hard? Well, as you can see, the air or the smoke coming out is clean, invisible. If it starts going gray or white or billowing, then you know you choked it off too much. Then you're gonna have to back up and open it up again. Get the fire breathing and then start closing it down. So now we're approaching 100 and now it's time to close the bottom vent too. I'm gonna shut it so it's only like half an inch open. And then we'll see how the fire reacts and the temp changes. So I've just spent the last 10 minutes watching the grill and now it's slowly but steadily climbing up to 115. So now I'm gonna, since it's moving relatively slowly, there's no real rush, but now I want to close those cat eyes to halfways because I want to lock it in on 120 to 125 roughly. We'll see where it goes. But the bottom vent is where I left it, half an inch open, so this should be good. And also I'm going to position this one with the screw right here so it doesn't swing open when I open the grill. So this is it really, paying attention during the startup phase and just dialing it in like I did, and now it's going to lock in pretty solid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check the next 10-15 minutes to make sure it stays flatline on 120 to 125, which is my target temp today, and possibly make minor adjustments. But if you get the startup phase right, you're golden. So this is the way to do it. So that was a technical session on how to light and maintain fire in your big green egg or any other Kamado grill if you have one. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope there was a few learnings, key takeaways from this. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up and remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. All right, thanks.